everyone. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about should you leave your job, which is a question that I think everyone who has been in the full-time world at one point or another has asked themselves. And so I'm really excited to dive into this. I have some answers for you. But before we get started, if you have not been with me before, I want to say, hey, my name is Laura Khalil. I am a leadership coach. I work with individuals who want to develop more confidence, clarity, and courage to go after their dreams. I speak on these events, or on these topics, I should say. I work with individuals one-on-one and in groups. Check down below in the links if you want to learn more about that. So should you leave your job? So first I want to say who this video is for and is not for. If you are someone who you feel like your life is being threatened by being at your job, or that you are on the verge of having a very serious mental health issue, this video is not for you. Take care of yourself first. This video is for individuals who you're just kind of like not really feeling it, or perhaps you are having some conflicts with your boss, or you don't really like the team, and you're like, well, maybe if I go somewhere else, it'll be better. Or maybe if I leave and follow my passion, as I'm sure we've all heard, it'll get better. And so that's what I want to address today. Will it get better if you leave? So the first question I want to ask you is, just looking at my notes, the first question I want to ask you is, what are you running from? Because anything that we're running from has the potential and likelihood to actually catch up with us. Because wherever you go, there you are, right? And you are the common denominator in your experiences. So I'll give you an example from my life to make this really tangible. When I worked in the full-time world, I worked in the tech world, and I frequently would butt heads with my bosses. Frequently. I was pretty opinionated. I was outspoken. I was not great at office politics. I didn't know how to play that game. And I would run into a lot of challenges. And so I'd leave and I'd go to the next thing and say, okay, maybe now it'll be better. Guess what? It wasn't better. I'd encounter the same challenges, be a totally different person, totally different company, but it just kept following me, and it followed me for years. And the challenge that I had is that I never really wanted to work as a full-time employee. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was too scared to do it. So what I was doing in these companies unconsciously is I was working like an entrepreneur, and by that I mean a leader. And I wasn't in a leadership role. I was in a subordinate worker bee role. So these contributions were not appreciated. And it only became when I looked at that after about, must have been 6-7 years, and I said, okay, what's the common denominator between all these jobs and these experiences I've had? I'm the common denominator. I'm the one who needs to change something. And so in my case, what that meant was starting my own business. And the minute that I started my own business, all of those leadership skills and traits that I naturally had, that I'd been using but in the wrong roles, became my rocket fuel. And they became the reason that I built such a successful consulting business. For those of you who are not aware, I spent many years as a marketing consultant for large technology companies. So that's how I built a very big business as a consultant, using the natural skills that I had. But I had to figure that out, and I had to make some really big shifts in my life in order to figure that out. So if you are unhappy in your role, I want to ask you, what are you trying to get away from? Because until you can have gratitude for these experiences that you're going through, you will never be free from them. My gratitude for going through these experiences of working with difficult bosses is, one, I learned a lot about how to assert myself. Two, I learned a lot about verbal self-defense, which is one of the things that I teach as a course. Learning how to respond to catcalling, mansplaining, being talked over, interrupted, steamrolled, shocking statements that shut us down. So if you're curious about that, reach out to me and we can talk more. But I learned a lot of skills, and ultimately I took all the skills that I learned about working with teams and working with challenging men and occasionally women, and I took that into working with some of the largest companies in the world. And that became one of my biggest assets. So I thank all my bosses. I thank my prior bosses. I thank the people I had difficulty with because they were my greatest teachers. So how is this experience that you're going through teaching you? How is this person who is driving you bananas in your office, who you can't stand, how are they your greatest teacher? And until you can get to that point, I guarantee you that you will encounter them over and over and over in different situations. They will keep popping up because you have not learned the value that you need to learn from this experience. That's just how life works on your own. The second thing I want to mention is people say, well, I just want to quit and I want to start my own business. Okay, great. So here's what I want to ask you. A lot of people talk about finding their passion. And the thing I want to say about that is, are you going to want to do your passion in 10 years? And you may say, Laura, I don't really know. And I think, okay, well, let's find something that you do know that you want to do over the long haul. A lot of times people in full-time employment think the hardest decision they'll make is to leave their job. That's not the truth. The hardest decision you're going to have is to continue doing the thing that you left your job for. That is where the real work begins. And that's the work of a lifetime. That's the work of many, many years. It's not like you leave your job and then tomorrow you've got all these clients set up. Not at all. It takes time. And it can take more or less time depending on the connections you have and the people you know. So, what do you want to do that's sustainable? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And if your passion is something that you get discouraged by or want to just not do when it gets hard, then I want you to focus on a sustainable interest of yours. I ran a marketing consulting business because marketing is a sustainable interest of mine. Even today, as I work more in empowerment and coaching and speaking, marketing myself is a very important skill that I continue to use. Now, if I talk about what I do today, I'll tell you this. Is it hard? Heck yes, it's hard. People don't know who you are. It's hard to build a business, period. It takes time, and it often takes longer than we think because we're all so optimistic and we're like, I'm amazing. Why doesn't everybody already know about me? I ask myself this question every day. But that's what the marketing's for. But I want to say I would not do anything else with my life. This is the only thing I'd rather do with my life. This is it. Whether or not a video gets 10 likes and 9 of them are like my mom sitting in her condo pressing the like button, or 1,000, It's because it's valuable to me, and it's so valuable and intrinsically valuable to me that I'm willing to continue to do it. Whether or not people immediately get it or see it or it blows up, because my mission is bigger than this moment right here in time. This is a lifetime. This is a sustainable interest. So I want you to think about that. If you leave your job, one, what are you running from? Because you're probably going to find it again unless you learn to have gratitude for this experience. And two, if you leave your job to start something, is it a really sustainable interest that does not rely on external praise? Yes, we want to be noticed for what we do. Yes, we want to eventually get recognition. Yes, we would like to build a business with it. But that may not happen overnight. And do you have the courage to continue going because you have the certainty that this is what you are to be doing on this planet? Some good food for thought for you today, guys. Thanks for being with me. If you want to know more, I've got lots of links right down below. Till next time.